never kissed like a girl twice in a row, not a single one of them. Here's the moon. It's a cloudy morning up there. That's clouds. I guess it's not smoke. But my point being, there's a lot of people who are used to having luck, and when they start to stop having luck, and they're typically very lucky, that's indication that it can happen. For one thing, that it can happen to them, even them. And what do you think about a person like me who's not as lucky? I don't have, it's very difficult for me to express what I need to say, what I mean to say. And then there's the problem that, I'm bad at love. Sort of like my dad. Mom used to say, well, your dad is bad at love. But he was far from gay, unlike that song that was some Halsey song or whatever. My dad wasn't kissing guys from Michigan and stuff. Yeah, he shunned it quite bad, but on the other hand, caught him looking at me gay-wise and smiling and stuff. So it was probably both ways. In fact, I don't know if my dad ever masturbated even a single time, but I doubt he had the body count, hand count, whatever, that I've had. Yeah, I'm over 15,000. I'm probably on 17,000 O's orgasm. And it's kind of sick. But, some people say it is what it is. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, whatever. I wish they left me alone. Some of them were case workers. And it's like, leave me alone. I think Destiny wanted to be left alone. She was a bisexual I met about a year and a quarter after leaving Michigan. So she liked homo sounding music, homo stuff. Being bi, she said she knew she was bi because if you kiss a boy and kiss a girl and like them both, you're bi. Her test seemed like it was better than something that was plumb opposite of making sense. Yeah. But I wasn't just anti-homo because of my dad, but because of my half-sister's third husband's family, Ken Moser, is so anti-homo. And sure, I've voted Republican before. And, I've got influences. I was spanked by my dad bunches of times. And what that leads me to is when he just hated anything homo. He said he had an experience that a farmer had lesbian dogs, and Dad just hated that. I could imagine Dad practically wanted to get up and kick the dog or something, because he said they were backed up to each other. Yeah. But, freaking Ken out there in stupid world, he starts talking to me differently than ever before. He goes, like a retarded guy or something. And I'm half worried that, I mean, if I have to worry, I guess I could, that he's got his sights on kicking my butt or something. Because he's trying to shame anything. I had a big Doc Johnson dome not so long ago. I bought one twice over. Kept throwing it away. Used it on myself. It's kind of erotic putting big girth things up there. It's just a little too long for me, though. But each time I think I'll quit it, I'm about ready to want to buy another one. I've got half a fuller erection right now, just thinking of the thing that I want to put up my butt and make it feel good. Others say, how can you be hetero? And talking about the females. And yeah, I was checking out a certain Megan from Kentucky. Maybe it's good that they don't put their last names on the dating website. For one thing, a lot of people realize they don't do that because they're trying to avoid stalkers. Given the first and the last name, they'd be like twice or whatever times more readily stalkable on Truth Finder. And they want you, sadly, I'm not very appetized. Don't find it appetizing. I mean, I like females, but they're too hard to get, in my opinion. You have to ask questions, and they don't want to hand out their last name. They don't. The ones I suspect they don't. They don't want me finding out where they live. They're scared I'm a stalker. Well, in actuality, I have tried stalking. I tried stalking Miley Cyrus, but I was gonna keep it cool. Wasn't gonna do anything bad. I was gonna give her a large stuffed bear that I bought along the way, and I wanted to succeed. The only thing is, if I had won, Lord is my shepherd, I shall not. Where was one in there? Well, I wasn't 100% accountable. Wasn't 100% sure I wouldn't ever in eternity ever rape her. But, that's exactly the thing. First thing on my parents' mind, the first thing on Dr. Maida's mind, and people's mind, and Jerry Hopkins and Tom Kelly and this other lady, I don't know if it was Kelly Glass or something from CMA. See, I probably remember like almost all their names, and I don't know if it was Jennifer or Melanie or something. This one smoking assistant woman to Tom Kelly. Tom forgot, by the way, my case manager in Michigan, that I can't seem to date or marry any girlfriend who I pick up who is a case worker for me. I mean, it's almost an American law that you can't date or marry if you're mentally ill anybody who's a doctor, nurse, teacher, minister. Heck, it's about everybody. I don't know when that rule can be bent and not broken. Broken, not broken. And isn't it exciting, the open road, when you think you're on your way to your little honey, Miley Cyrus. But, I learned something, hopefully, about myself, that I'm attracted to curvy sexuality girls, like gays and girls who are lesbian and bisexual. Just look at that. There's stars. There are, there are stars. And then there's Jupiter. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, here's Jupiter. And then here's the moon, and then there's a star. Tonight, this morning, it's about 5 something in the morning. It's a very cloudy morning. And if you can see in the dark here, I'll try to make it lighter. There's pink clouds here, and it's sort of white to the north. I'm not sure why it's white to the north, if that's actually sky glow from Bremen or if it has to do with South Bend, actually. Because in reality, I don't know how Bremen can have so many white lights that it makes a big difference like that. You know, there's a lot of light here, and a few years ago or earlier, when the Milky Way, you know, it makes an ellipse sort of around us. Kind of, we're in one wing of it, and Sagittarius is to the south in the summertime. So when you see it, there's almost any time of the year that some part of it is up, or there's a galactic star. But here in 3,000 something hundred population town of Bremen, and we're to the southwest offskirts a little bit, not totally out of town, of the town precinct, whatever confinement. But there's a lot of light pollution around here. Some places along Plymouth Highway, they like to put the street lights on LED lights, and the local Bremen High School has some kind of astronomy group or class or some kind of observatory, or they've got on the clear sky clock on the internet, they've got a Bremen on the map, and if you mouse over it, you see that it is actually the Bremen High School. So I didn't get my observatory on the map, and since it's too close to where I would have had my observatory, I lucked out of putting my observatory on the map, and I gave up, thought that was that or something. There's a cloud above the tree over here. Here comes a view. It's probably a car they were gonna get. But, you know, so I'm walking backwards acting cool. But the issue becomes one that, see, my friend from Terre Haute, Indiana, James Wallace, I gave him unprecedentedly a lot of astro items, and I spent a lot on him. And maybe that's exciting, you know, breaking unprecedentedly the gold, an old record, and giving more than ever before to friends or something. But he wonders why I'm doing, and I say before that, well, you know, I'm furthering astro anything or astrophotography, and he's very much into astronomy. But the thing is, when I told him about destiny, I was using weird jokes, partly because I'm a mental and abused person. And but I like the females, and I like Destiny. He said he thought it sounded like I was heck bent on Destiny, that girl who was bi. And he said he heard that I put things, sex objects, up my butt when I masturbate. He said he recommended I try going gay or getting a sex change. And then also recently, when I gave him unprecedentedly a lot of stuff, he didn't really yet say he's thankful. I mean, I like to hear when they're thankful. And I'm thankful to God, and I tried to rattle off a whole bunch of thank yous to God for, because we truly should. There's a lot that we would be able to be thankful for, and we can recognize that when we literally give thanks to God. He appreciates that because he needs thankful. It's like recommendations and what we're thankful for. It's like it complements his great giving. And but the point I was also making was James didn't yet give that he was very thankful. He might do that in the future, and maybe he'll be thankful yet. But he says that he doesn't plan to use his 8K monitor that I gave him for very much video. He doesn't want to see movies or something. I don't know if he doesn't want to see them or just especially doesn't want to produce them. And that was partly why I bought him an expensive cell phone too. So actually, technically, James went from being kind of poor and stuff to now he not only owns an 8K camera, but an 8K monitor and a PC with an 8K video card, and he can do with it what he wants. It's kind of interesting that I don't know if he's going to wisen up or if he's going to change or something. Like there's a time before when I was sort of bent on film photography of astronomy stuff, and I thought I would never become a digital person, but at the bequest of my mom, and I optimistically tried it out for a while, and after a while I was hooked and convinced, and I saw the signal to noise ratio was way better than film, and articles touting a lot. And so this is a long movie, but the point I'm making is I didn't like James Wallace's advice on the sex thing, if going gay or getting a change or something, because for one thing, the change idea of my gender, it would apparently never be the same way again. And I know the Mausers around me might just harass me to death or something, like they call it transitioning or something. I don't want to be that kind of whatever they call it, tranny or something. Some people are born that way more seriously than I. And James has just had an off the wall idea or something. But I don't know. I gave him a strict text back to him saying I don't know what you've been drinking, kind of thing, that your advice isn't something that I plan to take. When I say it that way, I don't plan to. It's my cunning, hopefully, way of letting them know that I think their advice sucks or doesn't have basis in, and I'm mocking it. Some people don't pick up on that, but it was Riverside Church that my mom wanted to go church shopping with Lisa to go to. I think personally, I remember I set foot in it first on my own, or I checked it out on my own from the outside. But then they wanted to pretend they were leading me, the horse, to high water or something. So I've got a lot of animal jokes that I tell because I humped a dog when it was homosexual when I was a little boy. Did it a number of times. But it's ridiculous trying to keep these secrets and trying to go out and pretend that I'm nothing but the best hetero meat for a female and try to say, well, this is my preference, and pull all the strings out when it's Match.com or any of them, because the girls don't get the point. They think, well, I look uglier than usual, and probably so. Isn't it true that all the mentally ill there have a deficit to start with? Beautiful on the inside, it takes a deficit on the outside. So some say you can get a makeover or get ever so more hygiene and stuff will fix that up or whatever. But I don't think it's necessarily always 100% true. And so, I'm stuck, and I know I want a wife, and I have plans of reproducing it. I think my dad was like, you need what can produce babies, and he never imagined that homo guys or lesbian females or anybody bisexual or something or whatever would have much of a chance, LGBT, of reproducing. But I guess any and all the curvy sexualities have that opportunity. And there's probably someone from every branch of sexuality, even asexual, where they don't want to have sex, that they have reproduced before. Just surely because instead in its place they wanted to have a baby. Yet on the other hand, Miley Cyrus, for instance, she doesn't want to have a child, and she can't be tamed or owned by another guy. I guess it's her bisexuality. Earlier they called it pansexual, they called it different things. Universal sexuality of Miley Cyrus. I've been crazy in a nut for her, thinking her face just was the most attractive, could launch 1,000 ships. But in reality, I don't know. Like I say, I'm attracted to curvy sexuality girls. It's probably the predatory eyes of them. Predatory eyes. Which I looked that up at the time I found another Destiny. I know Miley goes by Destiny Hope Cyrus, and Destiny Lachey Haggard was this girl from Fort Wayne, Indiana, who I met at Shady Rest Group Home. And she's mulatto and bisexual. But I don't want to talk all about her. It's just that I looked up during that time whether homo guys or homo girls, what the look in their eye was, and it said it's predatory. And I don't understand fully if it has to be, if probably in the future they'll have, I know they already have this, I've looked it up, there's this how gay am I. They're going to get it down to a vernier scale between 1 to 10, and currently they just have a Boolean thing to check mark if you're gay or straight or whatever, and they're trying to tell it by the look in your eyes if you have a predatory eye look or something. So, and really, I don't know, it's probably getting more accurate. They say not so long ago that they have one AI connected to cameras that can tell if we were suicidal, like it sees a flash of horror on their face if they get asked the question if they were planning suicide. See, up there is where the moon was. Can barely see the milky glow, but it's sort of interesting, all the AI and everything. I've done some deep fakes, but I didn't use my own voice. I mean, I don't know if there's laws against slotifying your own self, but to a mental person, and there's more mental now than ever before, if you allow them to do something with some, they might forget and then do something illegal. They have this term, they call it whoring out somebody. See, over there's actually Venus, and not too far from Venus, that'd be lost in the clouds now, is a comet called Nishimura, or something. An Oriental guy discovered it. It's got a 400 some year period, and I wanted to image it. I wanted to get it, and it's perihelion is set, I think, at September 17th or something. I think. Then I've got a dentist appointment on September 20th, and they want to put a crown on some of my molar teeth. I have two now. One of my molars broke, as he called it. I called it chipped. But you can see Venus, some of the clouds have moved away. I'll try to hopefully hold it steady. I don't have this on a tripod. But as you see, the Venus gets higher and further away from the sun as a morning star. You see that it actually gets further away from the crescent phase. I know that in my 10-inch f10 telescope, even though it was a zoomed out full frame chip, I was able to see the crescent phase of Venus before through it. I mean, that's that's 100 inches of focal length. It's 4 inches over 8 feet and 8 inches short of 9 feet, I guess. So, anyway, this is become a long movie, and if it had been an 8K, it would take till eternity to finally upload it, and it would be a whole lot of memory space. But because it's going over 30 minutes long, but you know, I don't know. I mean, my dad spanked me so many times when he was just threatening. He perhaps would have found a way of doing it for real. But if he got a little too wild with me when I was a little month-old baby, I don't know if he could have put a bone out of a joint if he smacked me hard and made my body bounce or something. But it used to be things that was on my mind once in the last 5 or 10 years, or whenever, that Mom said Dad threatened to spank me when I was only a month old. That I don't know what in the world was wrong with him. But, I mean, that's what we mean by bad at love. And when it's him and Mom suspects that I'm bad at love too, I guess, which isn't an optimistic thing. You know, women need guys, theory being, who are good at love, and they're more like what a girl is to start with. Maybe that means that she's more feminist, or if she's feminist, she sees things her way. And I know with Destiny it was her way or the highway. But, you know, maybe I'm translating here, migrating, and I didn't stay on topic all the time. Someone knows if I did or didn't. There's a car out on Grant Street. Well, anyway, some women's opinion are, I don't know what it would be, but I have hopes of being married someday, and maybe, you know, I'll always be different than her. I'll be some other side of whatever. And I think technically there's, even though harsh or something, there's many police officers who aren't bad at love. And technically recently I also prayed for officers, even including that they get their sex on and they would get the lavish sex they wanted. And I see, interestingly, in a different kind of way, I see God answered my prayer, just not in the way I imagined that he would. He allowed, apparently, an officer to rape a black female on duty and in his uniform. That one who did it with her in the back of the police vehicle, it took 40 minutes, probably indicating that he's either had intercourse before or he's had seen porn and whacked off to it before, and or just simply has a difficulty in coming. Don't know if it's because he's really racist and she wasn't all that appetizing. She looked perfectly fine to me. And the thing is, you know, I don't know if there's something wrong with me selling people off to officers. Really, I'd imagine in my prayer and dreams that these officers would be blessed with their own wives. Some would have wives, some would have girlfriends. I prayed specifically for that. The only thing is, then eventually I handed it over to Mark Pope, and I didn't say maybe the sex, or maybe I did, or don't remember. But he takes it probably that if I've brought the prayer to him, that perhaps in general I haven't even really taken it to God yet before because I've told Mark that I think I'm God, and that Jesus, who's God to him, kinda wasn't. So he's liable to think, all I need to do is pray to Jesus, he's God. So, this non-Trinitarian, here's serious. It's pretty serious, the problem. And it's Sirius, and that's to the lower left of Orion. You can see it there. I hope that this hasn't irked all of you. This is becoming my longest full-length Astro movie, but I have delineated a lot of issues in my life. I denied therapy from that one guy named Dorian. I heard his voice though over the phone. He thought he was going to get to listen or talk or whatever it is. Because at first they're gathering a lot of detail from me. But I know that that's the way it would have been. And I would have blown too many beans. Because like always, I figure they want to as much as not use it to arrest me with. And I know that when it's an imperfect one and not God, that's what they're thinking is, you better not shock me too much or I might just call the police, have them arrest you and stuff, or whatever. So that's the way there's a woman over here. Oh, hi. She doesn't want to talk to you. It's understandable because she loves the police and she doesn't really like looking at me. In fact, she's picking up her pace thinking I'm a rapist. When I pray for the police's sex themselves, it backfired on me. Doesn't it know when they raped their black woman in the back of that SUV cruiser? She better get out of here. Boy, I just pray ignorantly, don't I? I just figure it'll mean the world to them. I don't know. I'm just loved by everyone. And I smelled her scent. Yes, she bequeathed me enough. Saw she didn't have. She wasn't the one I meant by the hot girl I was talking about that one morning. That one morning she was wearing white. This is the one who's been around here in the daytime too. The hot, short girl who was wearing white and was jogging like that. Who I didn't get it on the YouTube movie. When she passed me by, she walked going this way, that way, this way and on out. This other lady has many times when I said hi or anything, she doesn't hi me back, which is fine to some people. A hi is more important than a hand wave or vice versa or something. And I don't know, I don't have the breakdown on everybody in the world. I wish I did. Like according to Lisa, and I get an amen about that. I ask her, well, I'm to give people what they want, right? I one time was cursing her, saying, God damn. I was lost in front of her home because she frowns in the most stupid way sometimes at me. And sometimes she's doing it because she doesn't understand my logic Other times she's doing because basically she's going to be a pain in the butt and doesn't agree that I ought to get more money or something like that. Knows that I could take it out and take advantage. And she, as everybody's heard, how mentally ill like that. Or we, even the mentally ill, think so of other mental. And so the thing is, she was saying, bless you, bless you, bless you, over and over and over and over. So over this way to the east is where the comet is, but at the frame rate of 30 frames per second, I wouldn't get it. And I don't know if I would attempt to get it through the clouds. Not so long ago I realized it was with the beehive cluster, which is measure 44. I think it was to the lower left, the sort of lower left of the beehive as it was rising in the sky. So who knows? I think it's trucking further to the east, and I don't know its path after that. But it's going to go through perihelion, like I said, on September 30. Well, I've got to draw an end to this movie. It's going on 40 some minutes, and it's my longest YouTube movie. You can see Orion up there above the clouds. See, there's clouds and below it, and there's Sirius, and there's the crescent moon with a little bit of, it's difficult to see the clouds around it in real but according to the video there are. And here's Venus where the comet Nishi Murray is. Well, I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.